There's a corner of your home you probably don't think about much. It might hold a few plants, a small chair, maybe some folded laundry. But your balcony, quiet, tucked away, often overlooked, could be the single space silently shaping how energy, peace, and even prosperity move through your life. Think about it. You decorate your living room with care, you keep the kitchen in order, maybe you even light candles to create a certain mood. But the balcony, it becomes a catch-all, a resting spot for things that don't belong anywhere else. And yet in many homes, this forgotten space is more than just an outdoor nook. It's the breathing point of the entire house. It's where energy comes in or leaks out. Now, I'm not saying your financial well-being or peace of mind depends solely on where you dry your towels. But I am saying this. How you treat your balcony tells a subtle story about how you let things in and how easily you let them go. Some people keep everything beautiful indoors, but just outside their window, there's clutter, imbalance, and blocked light. And over time, that mismatch adds up. The energy doesn't feel right. You work hard, but the results feel delayed. You clean and rearrange, but peace doesn't stay. It's like something slips through the cracks and you can't quite name it. Today, we're not here to talk about luxury makeovers or complicated rules. We're here to uncover 6 simple but powerful traps your balcony might be setting without you realizing, and how fixing them gently, intentionally, can shift the entire mood of your home. This isn't about superstition. It's about flow, feeling, and giving one small space permission to support you better. So let's step outside for a moment and take a closer look. Trap 1: when your balcony becomes a wealth drain. Most homes are designed to keep things in warmth, comfort, memories, moments. But what if a small, overlooked detail in your home is quietly doing the opposite? What if it's letting the good things slip away, one unnoticed day at a time? Let's talk about levels. Specifically, the level of your balcony floor compared to your living room. It may seem like a construction detail, a decision made by builders, architects, contractors, something most homeowners never even question. But this tiny difference in height holds an unexpected influence over how energy flows through your space. Imagine walking downhill with a cup of water. It tilts forward, right? A little too much movement and that water spills, fast and without resistance. Now picture your living room as that cup. It holds the warmth, the laughter, the intentions you've poured into your home. But if your balcony floor is built higher than your living room, the energy, along with clarity, luck, and yes, even financial flow, naturally starts to tip and run outward. That's not superstition, that's gravity. In hundreds of consultations, I've stood in beautiful apartments, immaculate, thoughtfully decorated, filled with love, and yet the energy felt off, stuck in the wrong places, or worse, slipping out the door. And time after time, we traced it to one consistent thing: the balcony was too high. That small architectural imbalance led to a subtle, energetic one. And over the years, the homeowners noticed patterns, money coming in but never staying, unexpected bills, feelings of being close but never quite there. It wasn't just financial either. Creativity felt drained, restlessness grew, as if something kept knocking energy off balance before it had time to settle. Now, this isn't about fear. This is about awareness. If you're already living in a space where your balcony is level or higher than your main room, you're not doomed. There are gentle, beautiful ways to guide the flow back toward balance. For instance, placing a low mat or rug at the threshold between the two spaces. This doesn't fix the height, but it gives energy a cue to pause, to take a breath before leaving. Think of it like a welcome mat, but in reverse. A stay here mat. You can also use soft elements to draw energy inward. Low planters placed right where the balcony meets the living room. A short bench. Even a chair angled slightly toward the inside. These are cues, subtle suggestions that say, energy belongs here. One powerful method I've seen work time and again is the use of what I call grounding coins. Not for luck, not as charm, but as symbols of intention. 10 small copper coins placed in a line just under the balcony floor or along the wall where the floor meets the edge. You don't need to dig or install anything. Simply placing them along the base inside small jars or bowls is enough. Why 10? Because 10 is a number of fullness, of cycles completed. And copper, because it holds and channels energy. Every time light hits those coins, even if only through memory, you'll feel the intention anchoring your space. You'll remember, this home keeps good things. It doesn't pour them away. And yes, there's a practical bonus. In home design, having the balcony slightly lower also reduces rainwater splashing inward, keeps moisture out, and helps maintain airflow. So even from a purely physical lens, it makes sense. The energy conversation just adds another layer of meaning, one that, once you feel it, you won't unsee. So let's come back to that image of the cup. Picture your home not as a structure, but as a vessel. What do you want it to hold? Peace, stability, joy, wealth? Then ask yourself, where are the small tilts that might be letting those things run off without your permission? The beauty is nothing needs to be torn down. No renovation required. All you need is a shift in awareness, a moment to recognize that even the floor beneath your feet holds memory, direction, and movement. And when you guide that movement with care, your home responds. It steadies, it settles, and slowly you do too. The balcony might be small, but how it's built changes everything. Trap 2, cracks, wobbles, and the fear of falling. There's a difference between being safe and feeling safe. You can live in a home that meets every building code, pass every inspection, and still carry a quiet, unsettled feeling each time you step outside. It's not always something you can name, just a flicker of unease, a step that feels softer than it should, a railing that sways when it shouldn't, a fine line in the glass you didn't notice last month but can't stop seeing now. Small things, tiny imperfections, but they collect, they whisper. Your balcony, like every space in your home, holds emotional memory, not just from what's happened there, but from how your body reacts to it. If the boards creak when you step, if the panel feels thin beneath your palm, if you catch yourself checking again and again that it's locked, latched, stable. That's not just your mind playing tricks. That's your nervous system trying to protect you. The problem is, you can't rest where your body doesn't trust the floor. And you can't welcome in peace or prosperity when your instincts are in survival mode, even subtly. In older homes especially, balconies carry stories. Exposure, weather, weight. They age quietly, and with that age comes wear, a hairline crack in the glass, a rusted screw at the edge, a shift in the handrail. On their own, none of these feel urgent, but emotionally they create a ripple, a sense that something is just slightly off. And for many women, especially those who live alone or have experienced instability in the past, these little things don't feel little. They feel like reminders of fragility, of unpredictability, of not being fully supported. Let's get practical. Start with the railing. If it wobbles even a little, get it checked, reinforced, replaced if needed. You don't need a fall for it to fail you, you just need the fear of one. That's enough to tighten the breath, to make your shoulders rise every time you lean. And that tension, it stays, it follows you back inside, it shows up in your sleep, your thoughts, your ability to feel grounded. Next, the glass, cracks, chips, or cloudy panels not only obscure your view, they fracture your sense of clarity. In many traditions, glass is symbolic, it reflects, it holds light. But when it's broken, it distorts. You might think it's just a cosmetic issue, but stand next to a cracked panel and notice how your body feels. Slightly guarded, slightly cautious. That's real. It doesn't matter if the crack is small. What matters is what it signals. That something meant to protect you is now flawed. And then there's sound. A balcony that groans or squeaks underfoot isn't just an auditory annoyance, it's a reminder of instability. Compare that to the deep quiet of a well-built deck. No creaks, no doubt, just stillness. That's what lets you exhale fully. That's what makes you want to sit with your morning tea and stay a little longer. And that's the goal, not to fear the space, but to feel gently supported by it. Safety isn't about perfection, it's about trust. And in a home, that trust is built through consistency. Through tiny signals that say, you're held, you're steady here. A loose bolt, a shaky beam, a squeaky step, each one chips away at that message. But here's the hopeful part. Restoring that trust doesn't require a full renovation. Often it's a weekend project, a tightening of screws, a replacement of one pane. a fresh coat of weather-resistant paint that not only protects, but renews. And every time you take one of those actions, you're not just fixing your balcony, you're reaffirming something deeper. I deserve to feel safe in my own home. Some of you might be thinking, it's just outside, I barely use it. But energy doesn't care how often you step out, it cares how the space feels. And if the outside edges of your home feel fragile, exposed, vulnerable, that edge runs inward. You might not use the balcony, but you know it's there. And that knowledge seeps in. It affects how deeply you rest, how fully you open up to guests, how easily you feel at home in your own space. There's also the emotional symbolism. A shaky balcony mirrors shaky confidence. A cracked glass mirrors unclear vision. A railing you don't trust mirrors relationships that leave you second-guessing. These are metaphors, yes, but they are also mirrors, because how we tend to our physical space often reflects how we tend to our internal one. When we ignore the wobble, the crack, the ache, we tell ourselves, it's fine, I can live with it. But over time, that quiet tolerance becomes resignation, and that's not what home should feel like. Let's shift that. Let's imagine your balcony as an invitation, a place to step into the breeze with your shoulders down, your breath deep, your heart soft. A space where you can sit, watch the light change, listen to the leaves, and feel held by something sturdy and still. That kind of space doesn't come from luxury. It comes from care, from checking that the structure is solid, from noticing when something needs attention and giving it. Not because it's urgent, but because it matters. So if today is the first day you look at your balcony differently, if your eyes now pause on that chip in the glass or your hand lingers on that railing, know this, that awareness is the beginning. The fear you've been quietly carrying can begin to soften, and the space that once whispered uncertainty can begin to say something else, something steadier, something kinder. This isn't about fixing a flaw, it's about reclaiming a sense of support. A deep exhale you didn't know you were holding, a steady ground beneath your feet, even on the edge of things. Because when the outside of your home feels safe, the inside of your heart begins to believe it too. Trap 3, a breathless balcony is a breathless life. Some homes look perfectly fine from the outside. The furniture matches, the curtains fall just right, the kitchen smells like something warm and familiar. But the moment you step in, there's a tightness, a heaviness, as if the space is holding its breath, and not in a good way. It's subtle. You may not notice it at first, but your body does, and often it begins with one overlooked place, the balcony. Balconies are like the lungs of a home. They bring in light, air, softness. They offer a moment of pause between inside and out. But when they're blocked, cluttered, or sealed shut, it's like trying to breathe through a closed window. The home may function, but it doesn't truly flow. And over time, that blocked energy, like stale air in a sealed room, starts to settle in all the wrong places. Let's talk about what a breathless balcony actually looks like. It starts small. A few folding chairs stacked in the corner. A drying rack set up just for now. Boxes waiting to go to the garage, but somehow still there 3 months later. None of it seems wrong on its own, but together they create a wall. A quiet, invisible barrier between your home and the outside world. And when that space meant for openness becomes crowded, the energy doesn't just slow down, it stops. It sinks. You feel it in the mornings, when the light doesn't reach as far as it used to. You feel it in your mood when small frustrations feel heavier than they should. You feel it when you try to tidy the house, but the sense of clutter doesn't leave, no matter how much you clean. That's because it's not just mess. It's congestion, and it's emotional, too. Because when we block the spaces meant to breathe, we often block something in ourselves without even realizing it. It's no coincidence that people who use their balconies with intention, who keep them clear, light, alive, often describe their homes as calm, expansive, easy to be in. And those who don't, they often talk about a sense of restlessness, of feeling boxed in, of needing space and not knowing where to find it. The balcony, while small, carries big energy because it bridges what's private with what's possible. And when that bridge is clear, the entire home feels more connected to the world beyond its walls. Now, this isn't a lecture about minimalism or perfect decor. You don't need a Pinterest-ready setup to make your balcony breathe again. You just need intention. Start by stepping outside, not to judge, but to notice. How does the space feel under your feet? Can you stretch your arms without bumping into anything? Can you sit without being surrounded by things that don't belong there? If not, start with one corner. Remove one item. Let the air return inch by inch. There's something quietly powerful about seeing the floor again, about letting sunlight touch the surface, about hearing the wind pass through without obstruction. These are small shifts, but they are the kind that make a house feel like home again. And as you clear the space, you might notice something else clearing too. A thought that's been stuck, a worry that won't leave, a sense of overwhelm that finally starts to lift. Because energy, like breath, moves best when we make room for it. In many homes, especially apartments, the balcony carries up to 60% of the home's energy flow. That's more than the front door, more than any window, which means if your balcony is blocked, your home is operating on reduced breath, like lungs that never fully inflate. And over time, that limited flow affects everything: focus, rest, connection, even money. Because when energy can't circulate, neither can opportunity. It's like waiting for a breeze in a room where all the doors are shut. So how do we open them again? First, simplify. Keep only what brings lightness. A small table for morning tea. A chair that invites pause. A few green plants, nothing heavy, nothing thorny, nothing that blocks the sky. Then look up. Is there light? If not, consider softer curtains or blinds. Let the sky be part of your space again. Let your eyes rest on something that isn't a wall. And most importantly, listen. Not just to the sounds outside, but to the way your body responds when you enter the space. Do you breathe deeper? Do your shoulders drop? Do you feel pulled to stay a little longer, even if just to sit and do nothing at all? That's when you'll know the energy has shifted. That's when the space starts to support you, not as a storage room, but as a place that breathes with you. You don't need to make it beautiful. You just need to make it honest. Clear, light-filled, because a balcony that breathes is more than a design choice. It's a signal to your whole home that air can move, light can stay, and peace is welcome here. And when that becomes the feeling at the edge of your space, it slowly becomes the feeling within you too. So today, before you move on with your to-do list, just take one step. Open the door, look around, ask yourself, is this space holding its breath or helping me release mine? That single question might be the beginning of a different kind of calm, one that lives not just outside your door, but deep inside your days. Trap 4, harsh lights, glaring corners, lost energy. Some homes feel soft the moment you enter, not because of the color scheme or the furniture, but because of something harder to name, the light. It wraps you like a warm breath. It knows when to step forward and when to hold back. It glows without glaring, and when it's right, you don't even notice it. But when it's wrong, your body does. It tenses, your eyes squint, your mood shifts. The light pushes instead of welcoming. And very often, that mistake begins on the balcony. Lighting isn't just about visibility, it's about emotional rhythm. When we walk into a room flooded with harsh, overhead light, something inside us contracts. It's a kind of quiet resistance. A message that says, stay alert, stay guarded. That might work in a grocery store or a doctor's office, but not where you're meant to rest, not where your spirit is meant to unclench. On the balcony, light carries even more weight, because this is the edge of your home, the in-between space. The space where energy shifts from the outside world to your inner one. And how that energy lands depends on the light. Too much light and the balcony becomes a spotlight. It exposes, it overstimulates. Too little light and it turns into a dead zone, a forgotten pocket where shadows collect. And neither one supports balance. What you want is glow, steady, soft, intentional. The kind of light that says, you're safe here. That doesn't flood the space but fills it gently, like morning sun across an empty bed. Start by checking the temperature of your bulbs. If your balcony is lit with cool white or blue-toned LEDs, consider switching to a warm white, something between soft amber and pale gold. This shift alone can soften the entire mood of the space. Next, look at the direction of your fixtures. Is the light beaming straight into your eyes? Is it bouncing off glass, creating glare instead of grace? Try repositioning lamps or adding subtle diffusers to spread the light more evenly. Think less security light, more firefly glow. Layering light is where the magic really happens. One overhead light might seem practical, but it flattens the space. Add one or two side sources, like sconces or small floor lamps, on either side of the balcony at slightly different heights. This creates harmony, not just visually, but emotionally. It balances the light the way the sun and moon balance a sky. Never too much of one thing. And in that balance, your nervous system can finally exhale. Then pay attention to the dark corners. Every balcony has them. The far edge, the spot behind the planter, the space near the floor where light rarely lands. These are the quiet places where energy tends to get stuck. A soft spotlight aimed at those corners, not to brighten but to awaken, can gently invite movement back into the space. It's less about aesthetics and more about invitation. Because light isn't just what we see, it's what draws us in. And here's something many overlook. The light doesn't have to be artificial. During the day, your best lighting comes from the sun itself. But if your balcony is shaded, surrounded by high walls, or facing a direction that catches little natural light, that absence can make the space feel disconnected. One beautiful way to counter this is by using reflective elements, mirrors, glass vases, metallic planters, that subtly catch and bounce what little light there is. You're not creating light. You're just helping it linger a little longer. There's also a psychological thread here. Bright, unfiltered light often forces exposure. It makes things feel loud, but dimness, if not intentional, can feel like avoidance. The goal is to find the middle, to create a kind of light that calms without hiding, a light that lets you see clearly but still feel held. And when that happens, something quiet unfolds. You start spending more time out there, not to do anything, but simply to be, to sip, to breathe, to sit in silence and not feel the need to fill it. The balcony becomes more than a space. It becomes a presence, a part of the home that carries warmth like a hand on your shoulder. There's a reason candles still hold such a timeless place in our rituals. It's not just their beauty, it's their softness, their willingness to flicker instead of beam. And while you don't need candles on your balcony, the idea matters, light that dances instead of demands. That's what turns a space into a sanctuary. So tonight, when the sun slips down and the sky turns that deep indigo blue, step out for a moment. Don't flip the light on right away. Just notice how the space holds itself in the dark, then bring in light slowly, one lamp, one glow, adjust. Observe, ask yourself, does this feel gentle? Does this feel like somewhere I'd want to rest? Because in the end, that's the purpose of light, not just to show, but to soothe. Not just to brighten, but to balance. And when your balcony holds that kind of light, the rest of your home starts to catch it too. Not in watts or lumens, but in feeling, in breath, in the way you walk through your space and finally stop bracing. That's the kind of light that doesn't just change a balcony, it changes you. Trap 5, what is your balcony wearing? Every space we live in has a wardrobe. Your bedroom wears soft tones that quiet the day. Your kitchen wears the warmth of spices and stainless steel. Your living room might wear the memory of family, laughter, light. But your balcony, what is it wearing? We don't often ask that question. To most people, a balcony is just outside. A concrete slab, a railing, a view. Maybe it holds a few plants or a forgotten chair. But beneath all that, it still wears a color, a tone, a mood, and that layer, often overlooked, shapes the feeling of the entire space. Not just visually, but energetically. Because color isn't just what we see, it's what we feel without words. Step out onto your balcony and look around. Is the space light or dark? Is the color warm or cold? Does it feel fresh and open or dense and uninviting? Now think about how you feel in that space. Do you want to linger there or leave quickly? The answer might not be in the furniture or the layout. It might simply be in what the balcony is wearing. Let's talk about black. It's stylish, it's modern, it's often chosen for its sleek, dramatic look. But in outdoor spaces, especially balconies, it can have an unintended emotional impact. Black absorbs light, it holds heat. And more than anything, it makes space feel smaller, heavier, more serious. If you've ever stood on a balcony painted in deep tones and felt a strange sense of tension or isolation, you're not imagining it. The space is telling you, there's no room to breathe here. That doesn't mean black is wrong, but it does mean we need to be mindful. On a small balcony, especially one that already receives limited sunlight, black can visually and energetically shrink the space. It can pull energy down instead of lifting it up. It's the difference between a space that feels like it's reaching for the sky and one that feels like it's retreating into itself. Now imagine the opposite. A soft sage green like new leaves after rain, a pale beige like sunlit sand, a quiet blush like the first light of morning. These are colors that don't just sit on the wall, they breathe, they reflect light, they widen the visual space, they invite calm. When your balcony wears these tones, it stops feeling like an afterthought. It becomes an extension of your inner world, open, gentle, alive. In many homes I've visited, a simple color shift has changed the way people relate to their balcony entirely. What was once a space they ignored became their favorite morning corner. They didn't buy new furniture or add decorations. They just changed the color. And suddenly, the balcony didn't just look different, it felt different. Lighter, brighter, more forgiving. There's also a deeper layer here. The colors you choose reflect more than taste. They reflect your state of being. A balcony painted in cold, dark hues might mirror a period in your life when you needed to feel safe, unseen, self-contained. That's okay. But if you're in a season of opening up again, of wanting to welcome more joy, more clarity, more connection, it might be time to let the space wear something new, something softer, something that catches the light and carries it inward. And this doesn't mean repainting everything overnight. You can shift the energy gradually. Add light-colored planters, a soft outdoor rug, a few cushions in tones that make your eyes relax, even a sheer curtain that filters the light in a warmer way. It's not about perfection, it's about presence, about choosing colors that feel like kindness. In color psychology, we know that certain tones create emotional responses before logic even arrives. Soft greens and blues lower stress. Warm neutrals create a sense of openness and safety. Even something as simple as painting a small section of wall in a lighter tone can invite more light and more lightness into your day. And your balcony, small as it may be, is the perfect place to test this. It's your home's first hello to the outside world. It deserves to be dressed with care. Here's a question to sit with. When was the last time your balcony made you smile? Not because it was tidy or well decorated, but simply because it felt right, like it matched the season of life you're in now. If it's been a while, maybe it's time to refresh the mood. Maybe it's time for your balcony to wear something that doesn't just look good but feels true. Because color isn't just decoration. It's vibration, it's message, it's the emotional climate of your space. And when chosen with intention, it can shift more than a wall. It can shift how you move through the day. So today, when the light is soft and the world feels quiet, step outside. Look at your balcony, not for what it lacks, but for what it could become. Ask it gently, what do you want to wear now? And let that be the beginning of a quieter, brighter space. One that reflects the part of you that's ready to exhale and begin again. Trap 6, the decorations that silence fortune. Sometimes the things we love the most, the things we place with care, the pieces that feel meaningful, are the very things that hold us back. Not because they're bad or broken, but because they speak a language that no longer matches what our home or our spirit truly needs. Decorating a balcony is often one of those quiet acts we don't think too hard about. We hang a wind chime because it sounds pretty. We place a big potted plant to block the neighbor's view. We store things that will move later. Over time, the balcony starts to fill objects layered over intention, and slowly, without us realizing, the energy of the space begins to dim. Let's begin with sound. Wind chimes are beautiful, delicate, musical, timeless, but not all sound is soothing. Some chimes are sharp, metallic, jarring. Their tones don't soothe, they startle. And if the sound that greets you each time you open your balcony door makes your shoulders rise instead of relax, it might be time to reconsider. Because sound holds energy. And your balcony shouldn't sound like an alarm, it should sound like a pause. Then there are the plants. Greenery brings life, but balance matters. A balcony crowded with overgrown vines, thorny shrubs, or heavy-leafed plants can feel more like a jungle than a retreat. These choices often start with good intentions, shade, privacy, lushness. But when they begin to block light or airflow, they create a kind of stillness that isn't peace, it's stagnation. Think of it like a room with no windows. You might not notice the air growing heavy until one day you just stop going there. The same thing happens to a balcony choked by its own abundance. And let's talk about the just-for-now items. The folding chair waiting to be fixed, the cardboard boxes, the broom, the empty planters, the laundry rack that somehow never folds back down. Each one adds weight, not physically but emotionally. Because every time you look at them, they whisper, not done, not ready, not finished. And that quiet pressure adds up. You might not feel it all at once, but over time you'll avoid the balcony, not because it's broken, but because it feels unsettled. One of the most overlooked culprits is light-blocking decor. A curtain that's too thick, a sunshade that never lifts, a shelf of objects placed right where the morning light used to fall. We forget how much our bodies respond to light. We crave it not just to see, but to feel awake, clear, soft. When your balcony stops receiving light, it stops radiating energy inward. And your home starts to feel more like a cave than a sanctuary. But here's the hopeful part. None of this is hard to change. It doesn't require throwing things away or starting from scratch. It begins with noticing, standing in your space and asking, does this object add light or steal it? Does this sound soothe me or strain me? Is this here to serve me, or has it simply stayed too long? These are gentle questions. They don't blame, they just open space for choice. A small change, like swapping a sharp-toned chime for one with deeper, softer notes, can shift how you breathe in the morning. Moving a tall plant to one side can let light in again. Putting away the items you don't use can help your space feel finished, not forgotten. Even placing a single open vessel, a ceramic bowl, a glass bottle, a wooden gourd, can create a focal point that says, this is a space for receiving. That's an important energy to cultivate, receptivity. Because often we think of abundance as something we go out and chase. But what if it's already knocking, just waiting for the space to enter? Your balcony, more than any other place, represents that threshold. It connects the outer world with your inner one. And when it's overfilled, too loud, or blocked, it sends a message. Not now, not ready, not open. But when it's clear, calm, gently decorated, and softly alive, it says something else entirely. I'm listening. I'm available. I'm welcoming what's next. That doesn't mean sterile. It doesn't mean minimalist. It simply means intentional. Each item should feel like it belongs, like it contributes to the breath of the space. If something feels out of place, too heavy, too bright, too loud, trust that. Your senses know before your mind does. So take a moment today to stand on your balcony, not to fix anything, not to rearrange, but to listen. Let your eyes scan the space. Let your body notice what it leans toward and what it subtly pulls away from. That's your answer. That's your wisdom. And that's the starting point for a shift so quiet yet so deep it doesn't just change your balcony, it changes your relationship with what you allow to surround you. Because your home listens. And when you remove the decorations that silence fortune, you make room for something better. Not louder, not flashier, just more true. And often, that's all the fortune you ever needed. So we've walked through 6 quiet traps, 6 simple details hiding in plain sight. A balcony floor too high, a railing that wobbles, a space too blocked to breathe, a light too harsh to calm, a color too heavy to lift. Decorations that, without meaning to, silence the very energy we're trying to invite in. And none of these things seem dramatic on their own, but that's the point, they are not. They are subtle, they're slow, they build quietly over time. Like dust on a window, you don't notice how different the light feels until one day you finally wipe it clean. Our homes are mirrors. They hold what we're ready to see. And sometimes, what needs shifting outside is simply a reflection of what's been calling for space inside. A balcony that doesn't breathe often belongs to a heart that's been holding too much. A light that glares might echo a life that's been on high alert for too long. A chair buried under laundry might reflect a part of you that hasn't had a place to rest in months. So when we clear, when we adjust, when we soften the tone of light or free the air to move again, we're not just fixing a balcony. We're saying to ourselves, I deserve more ease, more clarity, more room to receive. And the beauty of it all is this: it doesn't require money, it doesn't require renovation, it simply asks for presence, for noticing, for the willingness to feel again, gently and honestly, what your space is trying to tell you. If you've made it this far in the video, I want to thank you, truly. Not just for listening, but for being willing to see your home through a softer lens, a wiser one. You're not just watching tips, you're honoring your own energy. You're saying, this matters. And that shift, however quiet, opens the door to more than you can imagine. So whether you live in a high-rise apartment, a small suburban home, or a tiny studio with a window ledge for a balcony, let that space breathe with you. Let it be a place where light lands, where energy settles, where you remember what it feels like to belong to your home, not just live inside it. I hope this brought you insight, peace, maybe even a little curiosity to step outside and see things with new eyes. Wherever you are today, I'm sending you warmth. I'm wishing you a balcony that holds the light just right, a home that supports you gently, and a life where energy flows in, not out. Thank you for being here. You are seen, you are supported, and your space is ready to meet you exactly where you are.